Who are you? What's your role? And where do you work?
Hi, my name is Ratan Tipirneni. I work for Tigera and I'm the CEO.
Now, what news are you bringing to our audience today?
We're announcing a couple of exciting things. The first thing is Calico AI. We have a lot of rich functionality inside Calico. It's a single unified platform that gives you everything you need for Kubernetes networking, network security, and observability. And we're trying to unlock a lot of the value and the power through AI. And that's going to be an umbrella term where we expect to innovate in that space over the next couple of years. We're starting with an ability to interact with our solution through an interactive chatbot, and we're going to be adding more troubleshooting tools as part of Calico AI in the near future.
And what specific challenges does Calico AI address?
So right now, it's mostly about troubleshooting. As we all know, Kubernetes is great, but troubleshooting Kubernetes can be very complex because of the abstractions involved and a lot of the moving pieces. And we have all the data required and the tools required to troubleshoot. And Calico AI will actually, the very first thing we'll start to do is to enable troubleshooting. An example of that is just the configuration of the network policies. And if some of those are incorrectly configured, you're going to run into challenges. And that's what Calico AI can help troubleshoot out of the gate.
And how does this announcement change the landscape compared to what existed before?
So there are actually two things we're announcing. The first thing is Calico AI. The second thing is Istio. We have decided to bundle Istio as part of our solution. And the reason we have done that is one of the trends we are seeing in the market and what we are hearing from customers is that they want a single unified platform that has everything they need for Kubernetes networking, network security, and observability. And the second thing is they want to be able to take the solution and get it to work across any Kubernetes platform so that they don't get locked into any single platform. So as part of that initiative, we've decided to bundle Istio. That's an open source project that's gotten very popular over the last 8 years. And we're starting to see that show up in production environments. And a lot of our customers would rather have a single solution where Istio is bundled and fully integrated with something like Calico. So that's the second thing we're announcing today.
And for the open source community, is Calico AI, you also mentioned part of Istio, is it open source and where does it fit in the CNCF landscape?
So as of now, so the Istio, the bundling we're doing is part of Calico open source. It'll be available along with the basic Calico functionality, all the rich network and network security functionality and the ingress gateway and the Istio. All that is part of our open source package. Calico AI is available, or rather will be available in our commercial products, Calico Cloud first, and then Calico Enterprise later on.
And can you break down Tigera's business model and pricing structure for teams evaluating this solution?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. We are heavily invested in our customer success, so we'd like to be able to start modestly based on their footprint. Right. So our commercial products, Calico Cloud, Calico Enterprise are priced based on cores. So if someone's starting with a very modest investment in Kubernetes, let's say 50, 100 cores, the commercial solutions are priced, they pay per core. And as they scale, they can actually increase their investment or they end up increasing their investment in the commercial products.
And when people are exploring this space, which alternative solutions might they be considering alongside yours?
Yeah, for us, most of the time, people are using Calico open source. It's the most widely deployed solution in the world for Kubernetes networking, network security. So more often than not, the alternative is really Calico open source, or the other option is people try to do it themselves, or we're also starting to see them use some of the native functionality in some of the Kubernetes platforms. Obviously, there's a trade-off when they do that. When they do that, they could get locked into these platforms, and that's what Calico solves for them. It really helps break that lock-in so that they're not tied and locked down with any single platform. And it gives them a lot of price and negotiating leverage with all the platform vendors.
So looking ahead, what developments can our audience expect from Calico AI and Tigera?
All right, so we got some pretty amazing customers. Some of the largest financial institutions in the world use our commercial products and our open source products. So in terms of what to expect with Calico AI, we're in dialogue with them to understand some of their biggest operational challenges specific to troubleshooting and anything else that they're engaged in. And we're simply going to go down the list and use that information to drive a lot of innovation. So our mission is to help make their lives, the platform engineers' lives, a lot easier in running some of these largest platforms in the world. And so we've got some very rich information in terms of the challenges they're struggling with. So our intent is to work through the list and leverage AI to solve a lot of those challenges and automate those.
And how can interested listeners connect with you to learn more or get started?
So Tigera.io is a good starting place. We have a lot of rich learning resources. We run interactive workshops. That's also the right place for you to connect with one of us. And if you're using open source, we also manage a Calico open source user Slack channel. If you have any questions or need help, that's another place for you to connect with some of our engineers who are online there.
One bonus question. We ask a lot of people about what their least favorite feature is on Kubernetes, and a lot of people tell me, and I say a lot over the last few years, have mentioned network policy and network policy management. What is it that people are getting wrong about it that they find it so challenging?
I think it's just the complexity. There are two things I'd say. One is the complexity of actually configuring those and pushing them to production. The second really is a risk. If you end up configuring a network policy incorrectly, it can take down your production system. So there's a lot of downside risks that platform engineers have in configuring network policy. And that's the reason that they're very gun shy about it. And those are the problems we have solved. First, we made it dead simple. And second, we completely de-risked it for the platform engineers by introducing some features that enable them to put network policies into staging to test them out before pushing it into production. And the last piece I'd say is the lack of the ability to collaborate with others in the organization, because Kubernetes policies, network policies, don't allow you to do that. Once again, we've solved that in a very elegant way, where we have a very powerful mechanism that enables the platform engineers, the network engineers, the SREs, and the developers to collaborate, to configure network policy, to test it before it gets pushed to production, and everyone gets to play in their own lane, and they feel empowered. So that's how we address some of those challenges.